Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So in this video, I'm going to just provide you guys my first impressions of driving that 2021 Ford Raptor 37 package yesterday. So I drove it home 6.5 hours from Massachusetts here to Maryland. And I already have some pretty good first impressions that I want to share with you guys. But first, I wanted to, of course, line up the holy trinity here, the final three that I intend to keep for a much longer duration, especially the Land Cruiser and the Land Cruiser and the Raptor. They're here to stay for at least a year, and hopefully even more than that. But I'm kind of setting my line in the sand at very least being 1 year. The 4Runner here, admittedly, is going to be the first to go come that time. I don't know when that time is, but it will be first on the chopping block. So the Land Cruiser Raptor here to stay though for sure. You guys know I do have the Lunar Rock still. Really just waiting for the title to come in the mail to sell that one, as I already have the sale lined up. But mainly I just wanted to show you the lineup here because I think this Lime Rush, complemented by that magnetic gray metallic and that bright code orange over there, look phenomenal. Granted, I have a bias, I understand, but I'm super grateful to have these vehicles, guys. So let's talk first impressions, all right? So up front, having owned a few Gen 2 Raptors at this point in my life, I can honestly tell you that there is a tremendous improvement from that Gen 2 to this Gen 3. And I mean that. I'm not just saying it because this is the new cheese and I own it. There really is. And just the overall feel, of course the interior is miles ahead of that Gen 2. And just overall the styling on the outside, just like I said, the overall feel, just how soft and smooth it rides, and the responsiveness I think is much better in my opinion. Not to mention, you cannot beat the sound of this exhaust now, and I'm just beyond impressed with it. You know, you got that brand new trombone exhaust system within this. It does not feel like a twin turbo V6. It doesn't sound like one, especially when you put it into sport and Baja mode. It just rips and it just screams. So excited to share more of that with you, and definitely show you some behind the wheel driving as well as we move forward with this one in particular, because there is a lot of exciting things to show and share. So please, feel free to stick around for it. Some more first impressions. Like I said, much better than the Gen 2. I can say that with full confidence. And when it comes to the color, and I bring up the color on purpose too, because when you're driving this thing down a freeway, people take note, and it definitely gets attention. And whether that's for good or bad, I don't know just yet. I mean, there's always that concern of it being a little bit of a cop magnet, which isn't always a good thing when you're cruising down the freeway with everybody else. But thankfully, knock on wood, there was no issues there, no tickets or anything on the way home. But everybody is constantly breaking their neck to look at this. So, and obviously that is largely due to the bright code orange color here, which you guys know I've always been typically in the past. I've always stuck with very neutral colors like this. Always stuck with the magnetic gray metallics, the super white Oxford whites for the Raptor, leadfoot gray previously too, right? Army green, cement gray, Lunar Rock. So they're all very neutral, earthy colors that kind of blend into the crowd. And in a world full, or I guess a sea of grays, whites, and blacks out there on the freeway, when you see this rolling down, you can't help but stare at it. When you see that rolling down, you can't help but stare at it. And maybe I'm just getting older perhaps, but I'm starting to realize life is too short to drive boring cars. So if there's an option to get a bright color, I think that's the direction I'm leaning at this point. So huge fan of it, but I also understand that bright colors, I might like this year, but next year I might think it can get old faster than a neutral color. So that is always a large reason why I've always gotten the neutral colors. And I think that's a reason why a lot of people do that. But at any rate, definitely got a lot of attention. I even got a thumbs up from a G-Wagon on the freeway. So the cream of the douche gave me a thumbs up. So I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing, but that did happen yesterday. What else? So when it comes to performance, like I already mentioned, the responsiveness on throttle, it is phenomenal. And it's baffling. It almost defies physics because you got these giant 37-inch BF Goodrich KO2s on it, and it does not feel it at all. You do not feel like you have 37s on your truck. You really don't. So that was something you notice immediately. And the next thing, like I've already hinted at too, is the exhaust note. So this exhaust system here Ford knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. You know, you got the trombone little loop around exhaust, which I showed in the other video, which you can see plenty of videos on YouTube, I'm sure. But just by switching into sport and in the Baja mode, you really open it up, and it just screams while you're going down the freeway or you're getting on the throttle. So huge fan of that. You know, is it better than a V8? No, but I think it is extremely close, and I mean that. You know, you guys know I could have easily saved probably $10,000 and bought a brand new TRX instead with the supercharged V8, but it being an FCA product kind of kept me away from it, and not having any kind of pedigree in this segment kept me away from it too. So this exhaust absolutely will do, and I promise you, if you are a V8 connoisseur, you will appreciate this exhaust here, and I'll start it up for you here in a minute. All right, what else? So the only other thing I'll mention from a performance standpoint is, you know, it's the same engine, of course, as a Gen 2. It feels more responsive, but, you know, it does feel, you know, equally quick. So there was no big standout between this and the Shelby that I had, really. And technically, the Shelby had 525 horsepower, but they feel about the same. So that kind of puts it into perspective thing. The final thing I'll mention is just a ton of adjustment and the driving options that you have for it, putting in the sport mode, Baja mode, changing the suspension. You quickly realize that there is a lot of adjustability within it. So I'll show you the key line up here too for fun, as I have them all sitting here. So this one here on the left is for the Lime Rush. So this is that new key for the 4Runner, by the way. This is, sorry guys, it's pretty cold out here. So this is the AJT Designs key fob that I swapped onto. That's for the Lunar Rock 4Runner. This is for, of course, the Land Cruiser and the Raptor here in the end. So you get a little bit of a design for the Raptor and the Land Cruiser anyway. And pretty simple for these two here. So for the maybe two of you that care to ever see that, there you have it. Okay, so let's talk interior, and this is where most of my first impressions really come into play. I'll put that down right there. So this, I am obsessed with how good this looks, and really the feel too. So these seats, if you've never sat in them, I encourage you to do so, because they just hug you so well. You know, I'm a 5'9" cat, 170 pounds, and they hug me very well. So I wonder if, you know, if you're a little bit bigger than that, it may, I don't know, may feel a little snug, but I personally love the way it feels. Here's the gear selection here, and if I'm being honest, this kind of feels cheap. This is the only cheap piece that I've actually felt and really noticed so far. Just the overall feel of it just feels really bulky and plasticky. And I'll pop in here and I'll do the little pop down here, but it sounds like it's, I don't know, it sounds like it's really working to move it down and move it back up. So I'll maybe be able to show you what I mean by that. But overall, I'm just beyond impressed. And I think Ford really knocked it out of the park in here. This is such a huge improvement over the Gen 2. Just the overall feel of it. Like, just this material here looks so good. They could have easily just totally cheaped out and put a hard plastic up here like they have on so many of their vehicles, but they didn't, and I think it looks awesome. Nice soft material here. I love that they have metal finishes. And that's a very familiar sight right here on the entryway. So let me hop in. By the way, I think you guys have seen this before, but get the American flags on the side too. Back it up here. Here's your push to start here. Foot on the brake. So it goes to your seating position that you've already preset. I'll back up the seat a little bit to give you more of a look. Here's your window controls over here, and your mirror controls, and your lock and unlock. But just this whole digital display thing, I don't know. I'm still indifferent on the concept of it, just because all it takes is one glitch or one something to go wrong with it, and then you're without an entire digital display, right? Whereas that is not typically the case when you have a analog display like what you have in the Land Cruiser, of course, and the 4Runner. So the full digital is something to be nervous about a little bit. Let's get a little warmer in here. So one other thing, I thought I had a rattle at first, if I'm being honest. This for the trailer hitch, this was actually in the door panel over here on the side there, and I thought for sure I had a rattle right out of the gate with this Ford. I was like, well, that'd be typical, right? But I love the fact that it has the wireless charging tray. It holds your phone right here perfectly, with of course your connections here, USB and C-port connections there. As you see, you already have phone charger over here. Then your standard 12 volt here. As for the actual system here itself, it is so responsive. Let's show you here. Of course, getting your phone connected, just popping around, you can see how quick everything will pop up within it, right? And that has not always been the case. Even within the Land Cruiser, it feels sluggish compared to this. So lots more that I have to explore still, admittedly. I mean, I've only owned it for, 16 hours now? Maybe 20 hours now? So still learning it quite a bit, but just the overall first impressions, this interior feels phenomenal. So let me pop this down for you, like I said. So you'll just be able to hear it, all the gears or whatever you got going on here. It seems like it just feels like there's a lot going on to make that little maneuver happen there. And of course, like I showed you the other day, you have your little clicking right here, and that's how it actually pops up to become your table there. So it's cool, it's gimmicky, like I mentioned, but this whole component, this whole piece here, it really is pretty plasticky. So I can see this getting some scuffs and scratches, but I mean, probably be pretty affordable to swap out with something else too. There's your Bang & Olufsen up there. I threw my little Easy Pass up there for convenience anyway. What else? So yeah, wireless CarPlay. That's one thing I didn't mention before. I didn't realize how much I would love that, by the way. Maybe I have been living in the past, the whole Toyota thing for a while, but just popping in here and opening up my phone, doing maps, playing music, it just automatically connects to Apple CarPlay, which is awesome. So a huge fan of that. That's like a huge plus for this, and I didn't think I'd like it as much. The B&O sound system is just unreal. This entire sound system is so good. And like I mentioned, you got the speakers in the headrest there, but it just sounds amazing. Even on the top dash there, you got that nice looking material there with the orange stitching there. A little bit of, I don't know what that is. Again, metal finishes here on the tweeters. So this material here, I mean, it looks nicer than what I think it really is. It's a little bit of a plasticky feel to it, but it still looks really nice. I do like this, the carbon-like material here. Fan of that. But yeah, and the back seat space, this is, I show it every opportunity I can right now before I put my kids' seats back there, and it becomes utter carnage and just turns into a huge mess. So for my fellow dads out there, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, I think that about really wraps it up. As you guys know, there's a lot that I have not tinkered with just yet, so there's a lot more to come, a lot more impressions to come on it. But just wanted to share my legitimate hey, first time driving home and experiencing the Gen 3 Raptor here. So it is a ton of fun. No regrets whatsoever picking this up over the TRX, even if it did cost 10 grand more. The mirrors here, I don't know if I mentioned that in the previous video or not, but these are a very different shape compared to the Gen 2s. The Gen 2s go up more, whereas this one goes out and downward more. We got the cameras all around, which I'll show you that in subsequent videos. Walk around the back real quick. So a little bit of a different design to this, but overall the same exact side step that we had on the previous Raptor. These wheels, I love them. You probably need to pop on a wheel locks. Keep honest people honest. I think this is normal mode, so this is not a good representation of this lawnmower-like sound. Get the soft close here with all your measurements, because I'm sure I'll make a ton of use of that. But still pretty cool. Still got that fancy, and this is a huge, I think this really is an awesome feature. I was like, is it doing that by itself? I think I'm on a little bit of an incline here. Incline. Alright, and then bada bing, bada boom. So, next for getting up here, super easy. Here's a look from the top. Probably don't see that in every video. Interesting, got these dual little humps back here. Get an angle of those hips downward. And your plug-in here. This was a 2 kilowatt. Yeah. And your lights. And putting it down is equally easy. Numbered. Oh. Sorry, trying to do it with one hand here, and I'm riding the struggle bus. Sorry, I haven't tried that yet. Tell me what you think of this. The back piece here, with it just being that straight across. Here's your larger marker lights. So I think it's kind of the look of it in the camera is truly the real look of this code orange color. You just kind of see it changes a little bit in different lights. You still got this huge antenna here. And unlike the Tundra, we actually get front tow hooks. Take that, Toyota. I didn't mean that. But you actually get these guys, right? And the sweet Rigid Industry fog lights. You can kind of see it in there. It says Raptor on the inside of the housing there. There's a look up top. Alright, team. There you have it. There's the lineup. Sorry I made this a 20-minute video, but I wanted to share this with you. Just really walk through my first impression. So a lot more to come, like I talked about. My next things I'm doing are putting on the rock blocks, rock blocks, tinting the windows, doing the same exact tint that I do on all my vehicles. So full ceramic 20% tint all around with 50% on the windshield. That's what we're doing. I think that'll look a ton better. And the final thing, at least for now, that I have planned is to put on another Diamondback bed cover. So I'll be slapping that on here, as I love that Diamondback. However, when I sold my iCamper, the gentleman really wanted the whole setup, so he can just slap it onto his Tundra, which I totally get. So I ended up selling the Diamondback, which that wasn't necessarily the plan. But yeah, so lots more to come, team. Let me know if there's anything in particular you want to see of the Raptor. Happy to share, happy to be, share this experience with you guys. So appreciate you watching as always. Until next time.